booties for black girl nerds.
Hello,
Is it Jeandra or Jeandra?
Jeandra.
Jeandra, what's up, girl? How you doing?
What's happening? I am so excited to talk to you. First of all, congratulations on The Masked Singer. You were killing it, and we're gonna get to your performances on there. But you, in particular, I was excited to talk to because we're from the same hood. I live on
What?
Van Ness and Cimarron,
Oh yeah, we in the same hood.
like
I'm
literally.
Fourth Ave and Slauson. My dad lives off of Cimarron right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hood mates.
For sure, for sure. But congratulations again. I mean, we knew that you were a gifted vocalist, but we got to see you do so many different songs, different ranges. I saw a quote that you said that you're more than your biggest hits. So, with performing on The Masked Singer and being able to do it in anonymity, how did that inspire you as a performer to be able to do something different and not just what we know you from?
Yeah, well, I love music. I'm a student of music, and so I love R&B. I love hip hop. That's the genre I was brought into. But I love jazz. I love classical. I love some country. Like there's he says some country. But as a songwriter, there are musical things that I love, and when you get placed as a certain type of artist, a lot of times you don't have the opportunity to spread your wings and really give the best of you that's inside of you. I think most people have a mask on in their life and they're trying to take that mask off to allow people to see who they really are. Whereas my mask has been off and people see me, and I actually got to put a mask on for people to see who I actually am. That I have a rock voice in my body. I've got jazz tones in my body. I took on a Nina Simone song. These are pieces of me that I want to do a jazz album one day. And so, with great friends in the jazz world, it's possible, but it's only possible if people get out of their head, oh, that's the guy that sings, this is how we do it. And so even though I performed it at the end of Masked Singer, still, I think those other performances allow people to see that my tones can change, my stylings can change. And because of that, I think people can enjoy a part of me they never have before.
Absolutely. Let us find out that there's a Montell Jordan like jazz standards album out there somewhere. That could be pretty fun. Have you ever thought about maybe doing like Broadway or stuff like that? Because your voice is phenomenal, phenomenal. And it was just so cool to just see so much range.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I thought about Broadway, but my life has definitely taken a turn with ministry now. And so with pastoring and doing what I'm doing to help serve married couples and to help people in their faith walk, that's kind of my greatest showman stance right now in life, to make sure that I'm helping other people, achieve their dreams. And so when I can do an off Broadway thing, or I can appreciate the artistry that comes along with that. I don't know if Broadway is in the cards for me, unless, of course, somebody from Hamilton needed me to get up in there. Then I might have to take a couple weeks off.
Ooh, well, they were doing a run here. I think the run is over here in LA, but they were doing a run here. So hey, Alexander Hamilton. So people are
You know
listening.
what's up. I'll get up in there for that.
For sure, for sure. One of my favorite performances was the Born to Be Wild duet. Did you did with one of the other contestant? Did you know who the contestant was that you're doing? Born, do they let you guys know who each other are, or do you see them in costume just as us?
The show is so secretive, Jeandra. All while I was on set, I never saw anybody else. I mean, I moved from place to place. I went from rehearsals. I was on stage, and I was more concerned of not being seen by somebody else that would try and say, "Oh, he's tall, so that must be this person." So because I was moving around in secrecy, I know the other artists were moving around as well. So like from the first episode, I wasn't even there, and I'm a big William Shatner fan. When I saw he was there, I would have loved to have met him or to be able to know who you're competing against, but I don't know who any of those people are, and I guess people in the world have their guesses, but we aren't told, and we don't know, and we can suppose. But I'm okay just trying to, I'm glad that I was able to throw everybody off my scent to figure out that it was me after all these years, and I'm pretty cool with that.
That's awesome. With picking the Panther costume, perfect timing, Panther and shout out to Wakanda and all
For
that.
sure.
Do you
Yeah.
get did you get to pick the Panther or did they say, "Hey, Montell, here are choices." How did you land in the Panther?
I think they pulled a Jedi mind trick. I think they said, hey, if you have some ideas, you can come to the table with some ideas. And so I'm thinking, I play cards, I play spades, bid whist. I'm like, yo, I'd like to be like a gigantic king of spades or something like that, you
Ooh.
know. But when they came to me, they were like, hey, we know you probably have some ideas, but we think we have the perfect thing for you. And they had a sketch, a mock draw up of Panther. And immediately when I saw it, man, I was blown away, and I was like, "Oh my God! This is me." And from that standpoint, it was perfect, and I knew it right from jump that I would be able to step into there and become that character.
How many pounds did you lose wearing the costume? Because it looked hot in there. It looks
I
hot.
lost I lost 20 just in that one in that one setting. Yo, it was hot in there, and performing and to perform in a costume like that, where you could barely see. It's an obstacle course to give a good performance. So I think the cool thing about it was through all my rehearsals and everything being on set, I never got to see myself really perform. And so I watched it when the world watched it last night for the very first time. I saw myself for the very first time, the mannerisms, the camera angles, the cuts. I got to see me the same way the rest of the world got to see me. I had my 10-year-old daughter sitting beside me on the couch as we watched it. And it was hilarious because she's watching this Panther and she's sitting right beside me on the couch. I didn't tell her. And when the unmasking is happening, she's like, "Take it off, take it off." We pulled the mask off. She turns and looks at me. She goes, "Dad!" Like it was the most beautiful thing and the most terrifying thing at all. I think I traumatized my kids. She'll never be able to trust me in this lifetime at this point. But it was good moment.
That's pretty fun. You're the first contestant that I've talked to that has a small child who got to experience it along with the rest of us. That's really, really cool. So what does she think of a dad's Panther performances?
Oh, well, this is what's funny because she's rooting. I got a couple of kids that are in the house with the parents. We're all kind of watching it together, kind of a watch party. But we didn't tell anybody we just, hey, come over. We're going to watch our favorite show and we're going to do that. And so we're watching the show and literally the little boys are in the house. They're like, Panther's going to win. Panther's going to win. And my daughter's beside me. She's like, no, Harp is going to win. Harp is going to win. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, Harp is probably going to win. But Panther's going to give her a run for the money. And so when she's rooting for Harp and then finds out Dad was Panther, I think she was pretty pissed. If a 10-year-old can be pissed, she was pretty pissed. But it was more so because she didn't know and I didn't tip her off to it or whatever. And so I literally had to tell her, hey, honey, if you want Dad to tell you stuff like this next time, I can, but I wanted you to be surprised and I wanted you to be able to experience, what Dad got to experience. So I got some making up to do.
Oh, I think she'll do okay. I think she'll forgive you because that's pretty cool. And lastly, for your fellow contemporaries who perform or are in the arts, and they're on the fence and Masked Singer may contact them like, hey, we would like you to be a contestant. What advice would you give a future contestant who may be on the fence? And if they choose to do the show, advice you would give someone doing the show like you?
Advice I would give is say yes immediately. Just say yes. You don't have to be a phenomenal singer or vocalist. There are people who are dancers, there are people who are rappers, there are people who just enjoy having fun. And if you can breathe life into a character that they give you, man, it's going to be worth it because Nick and the entire cast and crew, they're professionals, they're fantastic, they're fun. Fox does a great job of creating good, entertaining content with the show. And if I could come back on again as a whole different character and try and shock them again, because I don't think anybody's come back a second time, I'd try and do it to see if I could fool everybody. I wouldn't be able to stand as tall. I'd have to do something a little different to throw them off the scent. But I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
You have to come back as like an alligator and you have to come out on one of those things like when the mechanic goes under your car
Rolling.
and you just roll out there like that.
I could be Later Gator. I come on there as Later Gator.
That'd be awesome. Well, I thank you, Montell, for your time. I appreciate you talking to me. You were wonderful. I love just hearing you sing different things in addition to what we know you for. So I appreciate you stopping, and I'm glad you enjoyed the experience.
Hey, thank you for your platform. If you have a chance to mention, if you may not, but if you have a chance to mention, my wife and I, we do marriage ministry, and we have something called Marriage Masterpiece Retreat Center in Georgia. We're trying to help public marriages heal in private. And we also launched a virtual church a couple of weeks ago called Masterpiece Church. And it's a virtual church that goes from our living room to yours. So from any entertainers, artists, athletes, people who are have life on the go and feel like they can't get to a local church, we are a global church that comes right to your cell phone or to your your iPad, your MacBook, your device. We are bringing the gospel to people wherever they are. And so if you have an opportunity to mention that somewhere, it'd be great.
We definitely will. Well, amen to that. You better bring the word to the people, the sick, the shut in, the people who are still suffering from COVID, who are
Yes.
about going out. So that is really, really beautiful. And salute to you and your lovely wife for doing that. Well, I thank you, sir, so much. I know you have a lot of interviews to do today, but thank you again for your time. And you were really great. We really enjoyed you.
I appreciate you. And hopefully I'll see you somewhere at a Masterpiece Church sometime so I can shout you out. If I see your name, I'm going to know it's you.
I'm going to check you out for sure.
Fantastic. Take care, love.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Chris. It is such a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on the Masked Singer. Let me ask you to begin with, as someone who comes from a performing background, how does it change having your identity concealed and not having to perform in the same manner as you would as your usual self and not the hummingbird?
Yeah, it definitely changes things. It's not like I'm not there singing as myself. I'm singing as a costume character. And there's a lot of different, where you're putting the microphone. When I'm singing, there's techniques you use to move the microphone around or to get different sounds. But when you're in a costume, you're kind of stagnant and you can't really move it as much. And then there's the costume, which was this, for me, it was this giant head, this giant beak. And then I had these wings strapped onto my chest, which constricted my breathing a little bit. And, for singing purposes, I had to change everything up. But it was challenging, but it was a lot of fun. And I'm not going to blame any of those reasons of why I got kicked off. It just was, it was a blast to do. And I'm so glad that they asked me to do it.
You were singing too good. You was just giving us.
Yeah, that's what it was. They liked me too much. They said, no, we can't have any more of this. Let's get rid of them.
Sorry, no, so sorry. We got to give everybody else an opportunity. Sorry,
No.
Chris. No.
Right.
But it's still a fun opportunity. You get to meet with all these people, collaborate, and perform and pick your performance songs. What goes into picking the performance songs for you? Why that particular one? I know it's to throw people off, but it was totally out of left field. Is it like a childhood or a young adult
No,
of yours?
I think you nailed it. It was just to throw people off. And I was kind of a last minute entry, I think, in that they told me I was doing it on a Tuesday and I was in the costume on a Friday.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I didn't have a lot of time to really go over song ideas or song lists. They sent me a bunch of them that were cleared that last minute and that I could choose from. And that's just the one that stuck out. And I figured it would be a little different for me to sing. And, and it was. And I think it was okay. It just wasn't in my range and wasn't normally what people hear me doing.
Mhm. What did your secret agent outfit look like? I've talked to other contestants who participated in the show, and they have to come with the cloud of secrecy, and they have their methods for getting in there. So, what was your secret outfit for sneaking in to do the show?
I think everybody's kind of the same now. They have a kind of a standard, you're wearing all black, you're concealed, gloves, everything, so no one can see any part of your skin or anything, because if a sleeve falls down, you don't have gloves on, and there's tattoos on your hands, somebody's going to know who it is. So it's really, you have to conceal every part of your body, and that includes going and doing sound checks and doing, walking around on the at the place and just always being masked up and big visors, everything.
Mhm. The clues, when I watched the clue portion of the show, when they're introducing all of you, you really threw some tricky clues in there about football and about Shaq. And the judges were going so far as to predict Peyton Manning and all these other football players. When you listened to their predictions, what kind of a giggle did you have listening to them trying to guess who you were in the costume, the judges?
Well, the Peyton Manning and the Tom Brady were two of them that I was like, I think those guys are like 6'7", and I'm like 5'10", but with the hummingbird head on, it made me seem like I was taller. But I was like, look where my shoulders are, guys. They're way down here. They're not up there. So it was funny. You know, I got Johnny Manziel, Deion Sanders. But then I thought to myself, do I sound like a football player trying to sing? Like I'm a singer, and they think I sound like a football player, so maybe I should get kicked off.
Oh, don't say that. I'm sure there's some football players who can, you know, who could croon it up a little bit.
I hope so. I hope so.
So now that it's complete and you reflect on participate, even though you were a last minute addition, what were some of the most fun parts of participating in Masked Singer for you?
I think every part, you know, every part from when I found out I was doing it until even the interviews today. You know, it's all been so much fun, and everybody that works in that organization is absolutely top notch and amazing. And it was just great to be around. And it was like, I felt so comfortable there, and they did a great job of, even though you're nervous because you're doing something a little bit out of the ordinary, they really had a cool calming effect, and it was so much fun.
As Nick, in addition to the host, is a producer of the show. So Nick kind of knows, or I'm sure he knows who all the contestants are in and out of their costumes. Does Nick sneak over and give you a little pat, like, good job, Chris? Or does he get a chance to interact with you guys?
No, I think that's crazy that if he did know, because he, you know, I thought he would know, because, you know, messing around with them, I thought like in between he would be like, hey man, or something. Because, you know, knowing him, I thought he'd say hi or something, but he didn't say. He kept it really close to the chest, and if he did know, he didn't say anything. I'm not even sure that he knows.
Could you keep it? How good a secret keeper are you? If you were in Nick's spot, would you?
Oh, horrible,
know?
horrible. I would be horrible. He's way better than I would be. I would be over there going, "Oh man, how are you doing? Good to see you again." Or putting the old paper up in front of my, when we're talking, like we're on the NFL sidelines or something, like, "Hey man, I know it's you. How's things going?"
That's awesome. So what is Chris Kirkpatrick up to? Because we want to keep up with you. You know, you still get a lot of love and from fans. Now you're gonna have some new fans from watching the show. So how can we keep up with Chris, and what's on Chris's list of things to do to close out the year?
Well, I've been lucky this year. You know, I've got to do a couple amazing big time things. And then I'm also on this amazing tour, which is like a Pop 2000 show where we kind of go around and do late 90s, early 2000s pop music. And it's me, O-Town, Sugar Ray, or Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray, Ryan Cabrera, David Cook, you know, LFO, just a really fun bunch of guys that we get to tour around, and every weekend I'm in a different city, and living like I used to, except only on the weekends now, so I can be home, see my kid.
You are speaking to my high school heart right now. I would go crazy watching. Have you guys done a LA tour stop? I'm gonna have to check that out.
We are doing Sonoma this
Ooh.
weekend, and then Orlando, and then I think we're almost done for the year. So I don't know if we did, they might have done one without me in LA.
Oh, that's okay. I'll have to catch you on the next one. So now that everything is done and complete, we know that Chris is the hummingbird. Final thoughts for the audience, words of wisdom for future Masked Singer contestants. What would you like to say to the fans and future contestants?
Man, no matter how nervous you are about doing it, if they ask you to do it, you can't turn this down. It was so much fun, and not going into it expecting it to be fun and then leaving it a completely different way. Like, it was even more fun than I could absolutely imagine. It was awesome. I'd love to see one of the other guys in my band named JC get on this show, because I think he would kill it and win the show easily. But, you know, definitely any of my friends or whoever's could possibly be doing the next season, don't say no.
Oh, that's awesome. Shout out to Jason Chauncey. I agree. I love that guy too. Well, I thank you, sir. It was a pleasure. I wish we would have had more time with you. So now I'm gonna have to go revisit the catalog and listen to all the good jams from NSYNC over the years. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm glad it was enjoyable. And it was just really cool to see you out there. Thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Take care.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.